Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm your host, the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and showing you how to play The Fox in the Forest. Now, The Fox in the Forest was published by Foxtrot Games and Renegade Games and was designed by Joshua Burgell. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm going to show it to you there so you can feel free to comment down below and tell me how I'm butchering his name. Now, this is a game for 2 players specifically. It is listed for ages 10 and up, and it is listed as a 30-minute game. So let's start there. Now, not much to talk about with the player count. This is a specifically 2-player game. The 30 minutes is probably about a pretty good estimate. That's around, give or take a few. That's roughly how long most of my games of this have gone. And the ages 10 and up, it's a little tough to say. This is not a super complicated game, but it's not a super basic game either. So the 10 and up might actually be a pretty good estimate. I think they've actually done a good job of where they're recommending this game to be at in regard to time and for what ages this game is good for. So let's have a look at what comes in the box. Now, inside of the box, the first thing you see when you open it up is your rules. Now, the rules are on one of these nice little pull-out pamphlet type rule sheets, which is full color and shows some diagrams and such, and has charts and everything to show you how to play. This only take you about 10 minutes to read, and you'll be ready to teach someone else how to play. They're very easy to understand. The rules are very well done. Now, the next set of components we have in here is a pair, and I'm glad they did 2 of these, so each player can have their own, a pair of cheat sheets. Now, the cheat sheets are 2-sided, and on one side you have a card reference for the special abilities, because all of the odd numbered cards have special abilities when you play them, and on the other side you have a scoring sheet reference, and both of these are going to be very important, at least for the first few times that you play this game. It's going to take you a little bit to get used to all the special abilities, and the scoring is going to be something you're going to want to reference at the end of every hand also. This is a 2-player trick-taking game, in my opinion, very similar to such classic trick-taking games as Spades and Rook, except that it's meant to be played specifically with 2 players, and a lot of the cards have special abilities that they enact when you play them, and it has a very bizarre scoring mechanic, which I'm going to go into when I'm explaining how to play the game. Now, the next set of components is the main set of components. It is a deck of cards. So now the back of the cards looks very nice, and the front of the cards, you either have plain numbers with their suit on them, similar to a regular deck of playing cards. The suits in here are keys, bells, and moons. And then the odd numbered cards often have illustrations on them because they are specific characters in the deck with specific special abilities. And in each case, they also have the special ability written on the card. Now, it may seem a little confusing at first, but after about 2 games of this, you're going to start to remember the special abilities of every one of these face cards immediately when you play it and immediately when your opponent plays it. It happens that quickly that after about 2 plays, you're going to remember what the Monarch does as soon as your opponent plays it, or what the Fox does, which the Fox is a really cool ability, which is probably why the game is named after him. And again, there are 3 foxes because there are 3 suits. And something I really do want to draw attention to is the fact that the artwork in this is just beautiful, and they did a really good job on the artwork. I want to say that right away. Now, the final set of components are score cardboard punch-out chits. Now, you have these in increments of 6s, 3s, and 1s, and these make it very easy to keep track of your score. If you earn points, you just grab some of these and you put them in front of you, and the game is played so the first person gets 21 points. So there you have it. That's everything that comes in the box for The Fox in the Forest. So now we're going to head over to the table. I'm going to run you through a few turns and show you how this game plays. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to tell you how it feels. I'm going to rate it and review it. And then we're going to get a second opinion from Lynn. Okay, so here we are set up to play a game of Fox in the Forest. Now, the way this game is played is like a fairly simple trick-taking game, but with some interesting added mechanics with special abilities from all of the odd-numbered cards. Now, if you're not familiar with the trick-taking game, the way it goes is that the first person plays a card and whatever suit they're playing is going to be the suit of the trick. And if the other player has to play a card of that suit if they have any in their hand. Whoever has the higher number wins the trick. Now, if you do not have any cards of the suit in question in your hand, you can either throw off suit, in which case you're getting rid of a card because you're automatically going to lose if you're off suit, regardless of the number, or you can throw from the trump suit. Now, the trump suit to start with right now is the suit of keys, because the way you set up this particular game is you shuffle up the deck, you deal out 13 cards to each player, then you put the rest of the cards here face down, flip over the top card, and that is the starting trump suit, though it may change during the game because there are special abilities for each of the odd-numbered cards. The special abilities really quickly is the swan, which normally the winner of a trick has to play first, but if you play the swan, you're going to play first for the next trick. The fox allows you to immediately change what the trump suit is. The woodcutter allows you to draw a card from the deck and then slip another card back under the deck, so you can change what cards are in your hand a little bit. The treasure card, number 7, is the card that if a trick is won with 7s in it, the person who won it gets a point for each 7 in that trick. The witch is the 9 card, and the 9 card, if it's the only 9 card that was played for that trick, counts as being the trump suit. And the 11 is the monarch card, which if you play the monarch, your opponent must either play the 1 if they have it, or if they do not have the 1 of that suit, they must play the highest number card they have of that suit. So it's a way to try to draw out some high cards from your opponent. So that's the gist of how this goes. Now we're going to run you through a few turns, and I'm going to explain how the scoring works. So I dealt, which means Lynn leads the first trick. So she throws out the 11 of keys. Now the 11 is the monarch, again, which says that if I have the 1, I have to throw it out, but I do not have the 1, so I have to throw out the highest number card of that suit. So I throw out the 10, and Lynn gets the trick, so she pulls it to her side of the table, and as she won, she leads the next trick as well. So she throws out the 4 of bells. So at this point, I'm going to throw out the 7 of bells, because the 7 allows me to immediately get a point, and I will win that trick. Then it is my turn to lead a trick here. So I'm going to throw out the 2 of moons, to which Lynn throws out the 1 of moons, which feeds me the trick, and she starts the next, because the 1 is the swan, which has the ability that she will actually start the next trick even if she lost it, the last one. So she throws out the 2 of keys. I'm going to win it with the 3 of keys, which allows me to change the decree card, and therefore the trump suit, by taking this decree card and replacing it with another. I'm going to replace it with the 2 of bells, so bells are now the new trump suit, because that's what the fox does. That is the fox's special ability, and the fox is the number 3 card. So now, because I won that one, I get to go first, so I'm going to throw out the 5 of keys, who is the woodcutter, which allows me to draw another card and then get rid of a card by putting it under the deck. Now Lynn threw out the 9 of keys, which automatically counts as a trump card as long as no other 9s were played, but it was also higher than it, so she wins that trick. So then she throws out the 10 of moons, to which point, I'm going to throw the 4 of moons and let her take that one. And she throws out the 1 of bells, at which point I'm going to take the 5 of bells to win that one, and again get to draw a card and discard a card under the deck. So you go through in this manner, winning tricks until you run out of cards. And once you run out of cards, you need to compare the number of tricks you have won to the back of the scoring sheet here. Now, the scoring sheet tells you that if you manage to win 7 to 9 tricks, you get 6 points at the end of that hand. However, if you win 10 to 13 tricks, you win 0. So there's a delicate balancing act. And if you win 0 to 3 tricks, if you manage to feed your opponent all of the tricks, or almost all of the tricks, you get 6 points as well. So you want to get more tricks than your opponent, but not too many more, because there's a way that if you're winning really, really well, your opponent can force you to take almost all of the tricks and then get all of the points. So there you go. That's how you play a game of Fox in the Forest. You play through a hand, then you shuffle the deck up again and play again until someone gets 21 points. I've found that usually that is about 3 hands. So now we're going to head back to the table. I'm going to talk about how it feels. I'm going to review it and rate it, and then we're going to get a second opinion from Lynn. So that was how you play a game of Fox in the Forest. So now, first off, I feel like I should start off when I'm talking about how this game feels. I feel like I should tell you that this game is very much for people who used to have a regular group that played either spades or rook or another trick-taking game of that sort. If you used to have a group that met up and played 4 people and then moved on to the more advanced and more diverse modern games, this game is really for you. I mean, I have several classic games that really defines different time periods in my life. And when I was in college, I had a regular spades group, and we met up a couple times a week, and we would go to a local diner, we would have dinner, we would drink coffee all night, and we would play spades. And the thing is, as I got into more modern games, I felt that spades was a game, while it was good, and for the most part, for a classic game, does hold up. Spades is a game that does go a bit long for what it is. It's a bit simple, and it goes on for a long time, though it is made more complex by the fact that cheating is actually legal in spades, but that's a discussion for another time. But I have not played with a spades group for a very long time, and Lynn was in my spades group. Her and I would play spades all the time. So when I was looking to get Fox in the Forest, I wanted to get this game because I wanted it to bring back the feeling that I got from playing spades, but in a 2-player format. See, spades, you really have to have 4 players. And in that regard, this serves that purpose amazingly well. It has the same sort of feeling as spades. You've got interesting mechanics with the special abilities added in to make it a little more diverse. The game plays much quicker than a game of spades. It's over in about half an hour. But you get that same joy. It's able to recapture the enjoyment, the same type of enjoyment I got over the deeply strategic elements and reading your opponent's elements in spades. But then there's something that's even more interesting in this that, in my opinion, makes this game head and shoulders above spades, and that is the scoring mechanic. I have to draw attention to the amazing concept that is this scoring mechanic. So normally in a game of spades, there is sandbagging, which if you play spades, you know what that is, and it's a way to stop your opponents from running away with all of the score, but it really doesn't come into play too much. This has an immediate way to keep your opponents from trying to totally annihilate you every hand if they're doing better than you, and you're just not, through no fault of your own, if you're getting bad cards. Because with these sort of trick-taking games, there's usually a lot of luck involved because you deal out the cards and that's what you have to play with. But this allows you to be more strategic and tactical, because if you get a really bad hand and your opponent doesn't realize it, you can start throwing them your best cards on purpose when they have even better cards to let them take them all. And before they know it, it's too late and you haven't earned any tricks and they're desperately trying to feed you some tricks and you're like, no, you can have it, you can have it, you can have it. And you feed them all but 1 or 2 tricks and they get no points for that round. They get 0 points for getting 10 to 13 tricks. Whereas if you get only 0 to 3 tricks, you get 6 points, which is the most points you can get. So this is a wonderful way to mitigate just being dealt a horrible hand. It definitely adds a interesting new element when it comes to strategy and tactics in this game. Because when you look at your first hand, you can develop the strategy of, well, I'm just going to feed my opponent all the cards. Or if later on you can tactically decide to, if your opponent has been trumping everything you've been doing, and you just say, you know what, that's fine. I'm going to give it all to you because you don't actually want it all. And that's awesome. The 2 optimal places to be at, there's 13 tricks in a hand of Fox in the Forest. And where you want to be is either 7 to 9 tricks or 0 to 3 tricks, because both of those will give you the most points possible at 6 points. Now, this is what makes this game so great, this scoring mechanism. Yeah, the special abilities are fun. I love how the Fox can change up the trump card. That is awesome. I love how you can strategically use certain of the other face cards to do things like draw out high number cards of your opponents, or you can save the one to prevent your opponent from doing that to you. And you know what, there's a lot of interesting elements with those, but the best part of this game is the scoring, because it turns what would be otherwise a game that is mostly luck into a game that is mostly strategy and tactics, and that is awesome. It thoroughly mitigates the luck portion because a poor hand can be turned to your advantage. I really like this game. I've played this game about 4 times now, and I've been really enjoying it. And if you are someone who used to enjoy trick-taking games but never gets to play them anymore and is looking to play a 2-player trick-taking game that's more of a modern game, this is the perfect game for that situation. This is why I give Fox in the Forest 8 out of 10 stars. I love this game. I'm going to want to play this game many times in the future. For me, this is a perfect game to bring with us when we go to the coffee house and we want to have like a little bite and a cup of coffee and then play a few hands of Fox in the Forest. This is a game that's going to come with me a lot going to the coffee shop. So there you have it. I give it 8 out of 10 stars, but different opinions do matter. So let's get a second opinion from Lynn. Lynn, how many stars out of 10 would you give to Fox in the Forest?
8.
Wow, so Lynn is right there with me. After much consideration and us having played this multiple times in a row, she also gave it 8 out of 10 stars. So this is a 2 thumbs way up review from us here at the Board Game Captain. We both really enjoyed this game. This is 16 stars between the 2 of us. So if any of what I said sounds cool to you, you should definitely check out Fox in the Forest. There you have it. Have you already played Fox in the Forest? Did I forget anything? Do you want to comment on anything to do with either the game Fox in the Forest or this video? Be sure to comment down below. And if you enjoyed this review and tutorial and you'd like to see us do more like it, please give us a like, share this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.